So last time we spoke, I realized that frustration comes from when we're stuck. Even the advice that I gave was to seek advice from your leads, take a break, talk to your colleagues and stuff, but it's centered towards studio people. As students, you don't have access to that kind of network. You don't have leads and you don't have colleagues. And so I thought I'd put together a few practical ways that you can deal with frustration by getting unstuck, and a few tips on how to get unstuck. So the first one that I have is to flip the canvas. So when you're animating, you get used to seeing this, right? You've seen it a million times, you've been working on it for weeks, and so you're used to the way it is. And so if you flip the canvas, you'll see it from a new perspective, and you might be able to see some ways that you can improve it, some things that are poking out. And then the next thing that you can do is, if something's not looking quite right to you, you don't know what it is you can check the speed at what it's playing at. So for example, so that there, right, it's a bit slow, so we can speed it up. And you can see that looks a lot better than this, a bit slow. Check the speed, and if something looks better slow, then you can slow it down. If it looks better fast, then you can speed it up, and then that way you can move keys around. So if a key, you can steal keys from a fast bit, put them in a bit you need to slow it down, and you can tweak your animation in that sense. Cool, so the next thing you can do is check other views. We animate to camera a fair bit in animation, so all that really matters is this final camera. But let's say if, there's this going here, right? This foot's lining up with this body, it's going kind of weird. And we've been working in this view for ages and we don't know what's up, so we're like, so we check another view. And here, in this view, you can see it pokes out. Oh, we're swinging out to the right. And so let's see what happens when I bring this key back to the straight. Now this pose is looking a bit nicer. The body's not doing the weird thing and it's all working a bit better. And so if I just stayed in the one camera view, I wouldn't have been able to see that. And the next thing is use motion trails. So you might have access to Animbot motion trail. I like to use spacing temperature, which shows you when it's cold or cooler, like goes to blues and greens, it's a bit slower, and when it's fast, it goes to red and yellow. And so this can show you some spacing things, right? And maybe tweak it a tiny bit. Something like this. This one could just come a tiny bit higher. Clean up your arcs. But this is obviously a super easy animation, right? It's just like up and down, it's like a ball bounce. So the arc is chill. But let's say you've got like a bit more of a complex animation and things moving all over the place, and you might have something going like like jaggering around, and you just get the motion trail and you'll be able to see where it's kind of losing its arc and losing its flow, and it will reveal things to you. If you don't have access to Animbot, we have one in Maya. I don't think it has any options for spacing, temperature and stuff like this, but you can click this one and it gives you the same thing, right? It just shows you, I think red's where you've been and blue's where you've got to go. So you can still see the issue, it's just got a little bit less function. Next one I have is to kind of take a few steps back and delete some quirky stuff that's going on, right? So let's say I like this pose, and then this is the funky one, and then this one I like again. And so I'm happy with the body. So the arms I'm not too happy with, so I'm just going to delete the key. This is it's a bit better, right? I've got a nicer arc, it's kind of working as it should. And then I can clean this up however I should please to do so. It's not the best example because it's a simple little jump. But let's say from here, here's a better example. You select everything, you like this, and you like this pose, but you're not happy with how he's getting from A to B. So you can just delete this, right? You've got pose A and pose B now, and now you can just work out what you want to do and animate it a bit cleaner. Check your pose as well. So let's say you've hit like a pose like this, you're really happy with this pose, this looks cool, this is the type of pose that you want. But you've animated 4 controls to get there. Yeah, let's say you animate this here like this, but then on this frame here, you might animate this one like this. Bring it forward, let's say. So I think when we spline, it should look a bit jacked. So you can see here that it's a bit jacked, right? And it's going a bit cooked, and then coming out. And so let's say animation is doing this. It's because we used too many controls to achieve something that we could have just used one control. So just delete all the animation on all the things we shouldn't have animated, and just simplify the pose. It's going to go from pose A to pose B a lot easier, because you're not moving a whole bunch of things. They're not all going on different rotation axes and all that kind of jazz. So if we just use this control here to kind of get to the desired thing, and then add that in spline, it's a lot cleaner, right? And we don't have that stuff, and it's because you use the correct controls. So maybe you've done your whole animation and you've used just way too many controls, so just go back through it and see if you can hit the same pose using the least amount of controls as possible, and that should make all the transitions a bit cleaner. Look for missing principles, right? So if your animation just went from this pose, okay, and to this pose, right? It's going to look a bit funky, going to look a bit strange. And the thing is, there's no anticipation. He's got all this force and momentum coming from nowhere. It's not possible. So when you add in a bit of anticipation, you can see that the energy is coming from somewhere, and that it's working a lot cleaner now. And you can see here when he lands, right? There's no overlap, there's no settle. He just hits a wall. So some more principles missing. And you could think, and maybe if we had a lot of issues like this, right? And then we do this, we've got some silhouette issues, right? Like what's going on here. So you can check the silhouette of the animation like this. Like this doesn't look like anything, right? This doesn't tell us any sort of story. What's going on with this pose? It looks insane. If we undo everything, or just go to a different pose, you can kind of see this is someone jumping. But you can see here the legs are kind of joining a tiny bit. So if you want, you can just do this, get the legs out, so you've got a pure silhouette. Maybe you don't really want it to touch the chin. Something like this. Something like that, you know. You can work on your pose to tweak the silhouette. So check your silhouette by pressing 7 on the key throughout the whole animation. That's also something that will help you out a lot, right? You've got some stuff that's on step. Make sure as well everything's in the same tangent, because that'll make your animation look pretty botchy if things are stepped and things are splined or things are moving with different keys. Another thing is take a break. We all agreed on the last post that was a very good thing to do. Is if you've tried everything, it's just pissing you off, you just can't see anything different, just take a break, take a day, just rest, relax, do something else, and then come back with a fresh eye, because it's all about coming back with a fresh eye, and everything basically is about getting that fresh eye, like checking the silhouette from a different perspective, flipping the canvas, slowing it down, checking the principles. It's all about trying to get new perspectives to kind of take you out of what you're seeing. Another thing I do is get inspiration, right? Like this sort of stuff, you remember why you want to be an animator, you see where you want to be, you just like, ooh, it gives you inspiration, gets you excited, gives you that extra bit of energy to kind of dig into your shot and maybe pick you up a bit. So if you are feeling a bit stuck, look at inspiration and get inspired, because that'll help a lot, right? And then not only look at this to get inspired, but study it as well. Because if you see Analyse Animation, you'll see. So you can look at the weight here, see nothing's moving at once. You can just check the way it's done, right, and just study what makes it good, why is it working. You can see here before he goes down, he gets his weight and pushes up, like it's really nicely animated. And And you can just study animation, and by studying animation you're going to see what's working and what's not, and then you'll see in your animation what's working and what's not. So look for inspiration, whatever you find inspiration in, whether it's games, movies, effects, whatever. Just check it out, get inspiration, and then try and dig back into it. And then also analyze the shot. Just see what you can take from it, and see what you can put from that shot into your own animation. Cool. And then the next thing is check your reference again. If you're feeling stuck and you have video reference or any sort of reference, look back at this, because this is going to show you maybe what's missing. Maybe there's a twist in the hips that you didn't see that's kind of driving an action or something like that. Just analyze the reference again. Yeah, so that's some practical ways on how to deal with frustration, how to get unstuck, and how to just improve your animation. And one last thing actually is something I do is I critique myself, and like, so you could come here and think to yourself, oh, maybe just a tiny bit more lean on this could be a bit more appealing, right? Something like this. Maybe you want to drag these down a bit or something like this. So you do draw overs in your own work. If you've got notes before from someone, or let's say you've been told constantly to do something like check a shape, make sure you can read the arm in silhouette. Just have that person's voice in your head as you're working, and just make sure that you can see the arms clearly, you know, and just give yourself notes and just see what you can do. And this is going to help you study your animation and analyze it from hopefully a new perspective. And just look what you can improve, hit your notes, do it again, rinse, repeat. Rinse through all of these kind of these things to help you see things and improve your animation.